Fragile.
and it's not attached to the bottom.
Okay.
It's not attached to
Well,
the
don't let
base.
Gage touch it.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, don't let Gage touch it. When we take a photo, you come and get it.
Hey, Chris. Good, how are you?
Got a lot going on.
Recording in progress.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome all those in the chamber this morning, as well as those that may be listening online. This is Tuesday, November 14th. This is the weekly meeting of the Weber County Board of Commissioners. I'm Commissioner Gage Frohr. I'll be conducting. With me is Commissioner Jim Harvey to my right and Commissioner Sharon Bolos to my left. We're going to start the meeting this morning with the Pledge of Allegiance by Brooke Stewart. I will give the invocation, and then we're honored to have the thought of the day given by our own Commissioner Harvey. We'll go to that point.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, as we come together on this gorgeous fall day in Weber County, we give thanks for the many opportunities we have as citizens of this great country, especially that of self-determination, that we can make decisions that will benefit our families and those people around us in the best possible way. Father, we ask for your blessings today on those citizens in this world that may be suffering, and ask that you may give them comfort and that they may find an opportunity to have better days in the future. We also ask for the blessings on our veterans this past week that we've honored in this county, in this state, in this country, and especially those veterans that served in the Vietnam War era, that we were able to meet with personally with their family this past week and let them know that the sacrifices they made during that turbulent time in our country history was not forgotten, and that their sacrifices are very much appreciated by the people in this country. And they may receive some comfort knowing that they now have received the recognition of the sacrifices that were so gravely given during that period of time. Finally, Father, we ask that your Spirit be with us this morning as we make decisions on behalf of the citizens of this great county, that those decisions may and will be made in the best interest of all the citizens, and that the thought and process that we go through to make those decisions have your Spirit with us. We say this prayer in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is it's such an honor to be here with this, having this experience. Even during your great prayer this morning, Mr. Chair, I had a thought prepared. Great. And I'm closing the book because I'm going to go to last week and to yesterday.
And yesterday.
Last week, for those of you, and we hope that you'll tune in on our YouTube channel to look at what happened in this very room, in these chambers, as Weber County, as we had the privilege of being able to, those who served in the Vietnam conflict. We've done this with the Korean World War II. We did World War II, luckily, while many of those gentlemen were still alive. And Vietnam was the same, but yet unique, as you know. It wasn't just said once or twice, but many times. This is the first time in 50 years we've been thanked for our service. Whatever the political environment was back then, they were shunned. They were spit upon. When they'd sit somewhere, others would get up and move. They were basically exiled from their own home because they basically were drafted. They didn't get a choice. They were sent somewhere where they didn't make a choice or a decision, and they did their very best. And then to come home and not be respected. What a privilege it was to be able to honor them last week, and there were 3 gentlemen who came in yesterday to be able to honor them. You know, I hope that none of us and none who hear this recording have to experience some of the things that they did while they were serving to help maintain part of our freedom or to keep the world safe. For whatever the reason was, we entered into that conflict. The fact of the matter is when you become a member of this country by whatever means, whether you're born into it or you come into it legally through whatever means you choose, you become a member of the country. And you live by its laws. You sign up for the culture, you sign up for everything that's here. And so as we pledge allegiance to our flag and one nation under God, not one nation, comma, one nation under God, I hope that all of us can respect and remember the privilege it is to be this one nation under God, and what a privilege be, and much in part to those who have given, and some, especially those who have given all, notwithstanding the families that have also paid a price. And so thank you for giving me a chance to just reflect back on that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I think we would all agree that this past week, as we've met with these Vietnam vets, it's sunk in hard in terms of the number of those vets that did say this is the first time they've been thanked in 50 years, which is a sad commentary on this country. But I'm so grateful that we had the opportunity to do that. So
Thanks to staff for putting it together.
yeah, exactly. Okay, with that, great thought, Commissioner. Let's go to public comments. Anyone in the chamber that would like to address the commission, now is your opportunity. We'd ask that you speak to the items on the agenda, and please keep it under 3 minutes. Anyone in the chamber, now is your opportunity. Seeing none, anyone online? Shelley or Christie? All right, thanks. All right, we're going to move on with our agenda then, commissioners. And today it's another special day for our presentation. You know, these presentations are one of the best things we do, funnest things.
I like them.
Yeah. Because we recognize people that need to be recognized, that should be recognized, that probably don't get recognized as much as they should be.
And heaven forbid we should go 50 years before they are.
Yeah, let's not wait 50 years to give thanks.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And anyway, so today, we're going to give the recognition of RAMP for receiving the Ogden City Mayor's Award in the Arts Lifetime Contribution Award. And that award was actually given to the county, but the one that deserves the credit for that is Shelley Hallisey and her
Thank
crew.
you.
Shelley, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. This was an exciting experience, and if you don't mind, I'd like to just share the speech that I gave at this award ceremony. It's less than 3 minutes.
Please do.
Okay. All righty. RAMP is amazing because of so many people. This award belongs first to our community, who agreed in 2004 and again in 2014 that RAMP is a tax worth having. Second, RAMP would not exist excuse me, if it wasn't for the dream of Nyla Seshashari and the success of her husband, Candidai. I can only imagine them looking down today at everything that RAMP has accomplished, and I'm sure they would be so incredibly proud. Anyone who knows me knows that RAMP is my passion, and I have been lucky enough to be a part of it from the very beginning. When RAMP first started, I got to work beside our then Weber County Public Relations ice sheet manager, Michael Caldwell. This kind of feels like a full circle moment receiving this as he's on his way out of public service. There have been 61 incredible board members that have worked on RAMP. These amazing individuals have spent an unbelievable amount of time poring over applications, visiting project sites to meet with applicants, and having committee meetings that sometimes last more than 9 hours in a day. Every year they read through each and every application. They understand the value of RAMP, and they take very seriously the responsibility of making sure that RAMP dollars are always spent in the most effective way. And they've done all of this for free. RAMP has funded more than $61 million improving the quality of life for Weber County. In the arts, RAMP has funded amazing museum exhibits at the Children's Treehouse Museum, Ogden's George S. Eccles Dinosaur Park and Museum, the Weber State University Ott Planetarium, the Union Station, and more. With the help of ramp funds, we are able to see incredible local talent in performances presented by the Ogden Musical Theater, Good Company Theater, Imagine Ballet, Ogden Chamber Orchestra, and Onstage Ogden. We are able to see artists work at the Monarch and art shown at the Eccles Community Art Center, and this list goes on and on. The horses on every corner, rodeos, the farmers market, the art festival, the Ogden Valley Balloon Festival, symphonies, the Ogden Twilight Series, OFOM's annual music festival. Imagine all the memories our citizens are making, and how great is it that RAMP gets to be a part of that. I know there is so much I have missed, but I do want to say that Weber County is so extremely proud to be a staple in the Ogden City art scene, and we are incredibly honored to be recognized with this Lifetime Contribution Award.
Great. Great remarks. Commissioners, Commissioner Bolos?
Yeah, you mentioned that Shelley is really the one to be credited with this, and I know that it's embarrassing to you, Shelley, but as the director of RAMP, I think she's done a phenomenal job, and the volunteers that you mentioned, those who are on the board. I have a friend who's been on the board for several years, and I didn't have any idea until she went through that first RAMP cycle after we became friends, and I realized, wow, that's a lot of time. They put in a lot of time to decide where that money should go, and like you said, to the voters who have renewed this,
Right.
who voted for it once and renewed it a second time, and it's such a benefit to our community. So thanks for all your hard work. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Harvey?
No, it's just Shelley, thank you. The touches throughout, not just Ogden City, but throughout the whole community can
Right.
be seen in so many positive things that this has done for the community, and I'm grateful that the citizens voted to do this. I'm thankful for the people of Weber County who saw the value in this and said, hey, let's make our community better by investing in it. And
Right.
so thanks to the citizenry too, and your leadership there too, Shelley, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's, Shelley, I would just second that. Did you say 61 million?
61 million.
Wow. So 61 million that we've been able to put in to the county, not just, and spread as all those projects that Shelley mentioned, that this has touched every city, I believe,
Yes.
and a lot of the parts of the city over the past number of years that wouldn't have these projects, wouldn't have this infrastructure in place if it wasn't for RAMP.
Yes.
So it's great. And again, as Commissioner Bolo said, or Commissioner Harvey, this was voted on by the people. This was not a imposed tax by any political body. The people did this, and it was a great decision. So with that, I think we're going to take a picture, and I'm not going to touch this award up here. This was the award that was given that night, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. And,
They didn't allow us to touch it that night, so
okay.
Well, somehow it was
fragile.
teleported over to
It
here,
was.
and we appreciate it.
We're not going to let myself or Commissioner Harvey have anything to do with taking this upstairs, so. All right, we'll come here in front. Jessica will take a picture.
Great. Be careful. It was just like him, you know?
Thanks, Shelley. There you go, Shelley. Congratulations. All right. Boy, just amazing when you think back of all those projects. And I want to give thanks to the committee that works with Shelley as we go through the years, and I've seen that group in the conference room up there get together and spend countless hours reviewing the applications and making sure that those taxpayer dollars went to the right locations. So, takes a lot of work. Thanks again. All right, Commissioners, let's go to consent items G1 through 6 this morning. G1, request for approval of warrants 9417 through 9445 and 480-392 through 480-494 and number 305 to 310 in the amount of $2,507,883.47. 2, request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $963,084.87. And 3, summary of warrants and purchase orders will go to Mr. Ricky Hatch. Welcome, Ricky.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We issued 11 purchase orders this week for $963,000. 62% of that amount, $598,000, will go towards purchasing fleet vehicles for 2024. 28% or $273,000 is for the ice sheet for HVAC units for the Olympic rink, and 7% or $72,000 is for the transfer station to purchase asphalt, equipment repairs, and fuel. For warrants, we issued 138 checks this week for $2.5 million. 40% of that amount, or $995,000, was for employee medical insurance. 28% or $696,000 is for the transfer station to go towards disposal fees. 10% or $256,000 is for the jail to purchase food and building improvements. 7% or $163,000 is for the library to pay for the sculpture relocation as well as books and materials. And then lastly, 6% or $146,000 was escrow releases for Somerset Farms, Taylor Landing, and Eden Lake Meadows.
Does that conclude your remarks,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Hatch? Any questions for Mr. Hatch on the warrants or purchase orders?
Oh, just on warrants and purchase orders? I got a lot of other questions.
Well,
but
no,
not
just on those right now.
Okay, well,
That
I'll
can come
wait.
later.
Okay.
Different time. Okay. Let's continue with our consent items. 4, request for approval of ACH payment to U.S. Bank in the amount of $69,093.06. 5, request for approval of business licenses. And 6, request for approval to sell and or otherwise convey parcel 164957 to North Ogden City. And I believe that's something we've discussed over the past 3 or 4 months, a surplus piece of property we had. With that, Commissioners, questions, comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion for approval of consent items as read.
I'll make a motion to approve consent items G1 through 6.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Let's go to our action items. H, discussion and or action on the 2023 transportation priority recommendations. And we have with us Ms. Brooke Stewart. Brooke, welcome.
Good morning, thank you. So, Commissioners, I am very pleased to be able to bring forward this morning and present to you today the annual transportation priority list from Weber Area Council of Governments. As you're all aware, the county sales and use tax statute requires that the Council of Governments create an annual transportation priority list and make a recommendation to the legislative body each year. Last week, we had the opportunity to present to the members of WACOG of the project applications that were submitted. We had 14 applications for consideration, totaling just over $27 million in funding requests. WACOG unanimously approved a recommendation to fund $2,378,000 in corridor preservation funds and $13,737,000 in sales tax funds to be programmed as outlined on the priority list that's before you all. The corridor preservation funds are programmed for 2025 and the sales tax funds are programmed for 2026. We had some really great applications, as you all know, and went through the process this year, and so we're really happy with the results. We're just looking for approval of the annual transportation priority list. Be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Questions for Brooke?
No.
Mr. Harvey?
None.
Well, let me just say, and we've heard this a couple times, Commissioner Bowles and I both sit on that subcommittee, and I just say that what the work you do and the process that we go through ensures that those transportation dollars are spent on projects that are viewed and re-reviewed by a number of people, and they're put in the right spot. And a lot of that work, hard work, goes to you, Brooke, and I want to let you know how much we appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So any questions? We've heard this a few times, so if not, Commissioner Bowles, this is your subcommittee.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 transportation priority recommendations as presented by Ms. Stewart.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks,
Thank
Brooke.
you.
Again, appreciate your hard work. Let's now go to a public hearing. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting and reconvene as a public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're now in a public hearing to discuss and approve an ordinance for zoning map amendment to rezone 2.76 acres of property located at approximately 2690 North, 5600 East, Eden, from AV3 to agricultural FB form-based zone. That's ZMA 2023-12 is the file number. Mr. Bill Kobe.
Hello, Commissioners. Good morning. It's good to be with you this morning. This is an item that we've discussed in a work session last week, so you should be familiar with this. For anyone who's listening online, this is a request for a rezone from AV3 to the form-based code. It's about 2 3/4 acres, and it's located within the area that's already designated in our ordinance as a form-based area per the street regulating plan that was adopted about 1.5 to 2 years ago. One thing that I'd like to address, and I know this is a concern for folks with this application and other applications that are being considered, in the general plan there are areas that are designated as village area plans, and they've been given a 1/4 mile radius around a particular point that was designated and noted as such in the general plan in the maps that were there. Those were never intended to be strict lines delineating where the form-based code would be and where the village centers would necessarily be. They're intended to be places of general areas of where we'd like to see this increased density belong. And then we would see from there a gradual transition from the higher densities into the lower densities of the 3-acre lots. And so the village area plans are not intended to be this is only where density will belong, and that additional density could be placed in areas that are within the areas noted as higher density, and then gradually transitioning into the lower density areas. And so the street regulating plan makes that clear. This particular zone change is within that street regulating plan area, and that's what we're looking at, and that's why the Planning Commission voted to recommend approval of this in their public hearing as well. So with that, I'm here if you have any questions. And
Questions for Mr. Kobe? And Bill, I appreciate that explanation, because I think there is still some confusion out there, and the Planning Commission, I think, understands that really what we're looking for is that distribution that makes good planning from higher density to medium density to lower density, that really all good planning should follow. You don't want to have a commercial building next to a 3-acre lot, for example. So this gives a structured balance so those people that own ground know very much what their rights may be. And again, we respect those rights, and at the same time have opportunities to look at the growth that we have across this county and properly direct that in areas that make sense according to both the general plan in the lower valley and the general plan in the upper valley.
that's absolutely correct. And it should be pointed out that the maximum density that he could enjoy on this lot is 1 unit per acre, 1 residential unit per acre. And so there's already a unit on it, so this is basically looking to add 1 additional unit on
One
the
additional
property.
unit.
Yeah.
And it sits adjoining, the adjoining property, their 1-acre lot's very close to this, so.
Correct.
It's not a huge transition.
That's true.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
correct.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Bill, thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, let's look for public comments. Anybody that would like to come forth and give their comments on this particular rezone, now be your opportunity. If you just give your name.
Chad Booth, I'm a resident of Eden, and I think I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I think the concern in us following it as Valley residents is, I appreciate the presentation here, but where does it stop, I think, is the question that a lot of Valley residents have. Like, I get that your explanation of it is that it's to accommodate some, But if we accommodate some, where does that sprawl stop? And is there a vision looking forward with, I'm talking Ogden Valley specific because I live there and I've lived there for nearly 40 years, but is there a vision of where, from you guys as the county commissioners, of saying, is there a limit to it? Like, are we going to go to New York City sprawl? Or are we going to go to Ogden Valley that fits the quality of it versus increasing the quantity where the quality is then thrown out and it's not a place that I think a lot of Valley residents and a lot of people within the Weber County, probably Utah in general, appreciate to come to. And so I think as a Valley resident, my concern for it, whether this is the place to do it or not, is questioning the vision of the county and seeing steps recently that have been taken that looks like the quality of it is getting taken for the quantity to accept anyone and everyone and everything up there. And that's my thoughts on it.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing no one else online, I would entertain a motion to adjourn our public hearing and go back to our public meeting where we could take some action.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. We're now back in a public hearing. Request for approval of an ordinance amending the county land use map, changing certain property in the Ogden Valley planning area from AV3 agricultural to FB form-based zone. That'd be ordinance 2023-31, Commissioners. I'd entertain a motion, comments, or wherever you'd like to go.
Before we take action, can I ask
Sure.
Bill come back to the
Sure.
lectern, please? I know that, with all due respect, I think that Mr. Carver here is interested in that and to more specifically answer Chad Booth, your comments, sir. Thank you. Bill, will you tell not just those two who may be interested, but any others in the valley, where can they go online? Where can they go online to see what the plan is, what the master plan looks like, and especially village areas? Is there a place that shows that, hey, look, we're not going to, the plan does not allow for a 100-foot structure or even an 80-foot structure. I think the height regulations are at 30 or 35 or something, aren't they?
Yes.
So where can they go to see any kind of plans like that? So in answer to Mr. Booth's, where that version of sprawl, if that's the same sprawl that he talked about in other communities, that Upper Valley sprawl, which is, in my mind, is a much different idea than even our own Ogden City on the other side of the mountains or any other city on this side of the mountains. Where can they go online to see that?
So the best place to go would be to go to our website.
That's Weber County, Utah.gov, WeberCountyUtah.gov, okay?
Or maybe even easier, just do a Google search for Weber County Planning. It'll take you right to our website. There's a link there to the general plans. And more importantly, I think, more significant to this particular conversation is there's a link to our municipal code where we have already adopted a street regulating plan that shows where these village centers will be. They talk about street regulating plans with the densities that are associated with that and the types of buildings you would expect to see and the lot sizes in each different location based on their proximity to one of these streets that are in the street regulating plan. Anything that's beyond or outside of the scope of those particular maps would be what it is currently, and we're not expecting any additional density anywhere other than what is allowed per the form-based code. We're changing the form-based code has already been adopted, and these property owners, as they come in, are requesting the form-based code to be applied to their property as it's adjacent to or can be developed near one of these already existing street regulating plans. So that's probably the best place to go look for areas of additional development and increased density is in that form-based code and on those street regulating plan maps. One other thing I'd like to point out, and you guys are aware of this, but the hope was, and the desire is, that when we enact these kinds of street regulating plans and change these zones, that the density that exists in the valley will stay the same. We're not creating any additional new density. They'll have to bring in development rights for these units that are being rezoned. They'll have to bring them in from someplace else in the valley to maintain the open space that exists there into these higher density areas.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
If I may continue,
Sure.
Mr. Chair, for just a moment.
Go ahead.
I only wonder, since Mr. Wilkinson, Mr. Grover here, that I assume Mr. Kobe was under the planning portion, those where the people go to find that information's under planning.
Yes.
You know, because we've got voting going on still, because property taxes, folks are coming in to pay their property taxes, and a host of other services that Weber County provides here, that information, I know there are some people interested, but that information certainly can't take over the whole website of Weber County because there's so many other services there. But I'm wondering if on the planning portion of just the planning landing page, for the next, at least until maybe the 10th or 5th of December, something like that, we could have a quick link established on that planning that says, hey, if you're looking for Upper Valley, this or that, and maybe you could get with Ms. Clark and to help maybe do that for the next one, to help people navigate to where that is. I think that'd be helpful if there's, that would be just a suggestion, Commissioners, that just to help people, that would further perpetuate or help answer the questions you said, Mr. Booth, that many people have. And so it would be a place where people can go and could see it in writing, what those ordinances that have been existing for 7, 8, 9, 10 years are already there, that are there. So that'd be helpful for people to be educated so they know in preparation for what may or may not be coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Bulch, you have anything?
I appreciate that idea, Commissioner Harvey. I think it's a great idea to have that quick link. And I also appreciate your explanation, Bill, especially the explanation of the transfer of development rights. I think that's really important to understand in the Upper Valley and in Western Weber County, that the density of the entire area will not increase, and that as we take opportunities to move that density to certain areas, then it leaves more open spaces in the whole of the valley, in the whole of the Western Weber County. That's a really important part of the plan to me, so I appreciate your explanation of that.
Thank you for that. And yeah, Bill, I appreciate you bringing that up. And the question was brought up, quantity versus quality. So the general plan that was put forth in 2017 for the Upper Valley, Ogden Valley, discussed very much in detail that the growth should have an opportunity to go into these village areas, therefore the street regulating plan. I want to be clear, the quantity of development rights has not increased and will not increase in Ogden Valley. They're set. The idea was, how can we keep open space? How can we preserve some of those farmers' fields up there that people enjoy looking at? And rather than have a home on every 3 acres that we currently have, that we can put that density in areas that we can preserve things like our riparian agricultural areas for wildlife, agricultural, and where should that best be placed? And the best place, and I think in a quote from our current Governor Cox, that good infrastructure brings good development. If we've talked about nitrates forever in the valley, that we know that the foreseeable future will not have any regional or valley-wide sewer, but we will have hopefully areas that we can look for protection of our waterways, especially Pine View Reservoir. We have that opportunity to give those landowners the ability to transfer rights from areas that they may not, or that the valley may not necessarily want to see a home on every 3 acres, into a higher density. Unlike what happened out west with the Western Plan that we just approved 2 years ago, additional rights were given because of a lot of pressures on growth. And obviously, if you've listened to the state legislature recently, they're taking very much seriously the rights for affordable housing and dealing with growth and making sure that communities, municipalities, counties have a plan in place for the growth. For those people that would say, let's stop growth, I don't see that that's going to be possible. If you look at the plans that this is not only in Weber County, but the state of Utah, the best way to deal with growth is to manage it. We're not going to stop it. And we want to give the opportunity for as many of our kids and grandkids to have some type of affordable housing as we can, that we price them out of this market. So I think that the vision is to follow the general plan, not take private property rights away, and give the opportunity for, again, the flow of density from higher density to lower density. And I think that's what the planning committee, or that's what hopefully the staff has recommended, and we'll follow that process. So with that, commissioners, I would, no other comments, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-31.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Oh, sorry, roll call vote.
Roll call vote for ordinance 2023-31. Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey?
Aye.
Chair Ford?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you very much. Let's go down to commissioner comments. Now's your time, commissioners, for a final comment. None? Okay, all right. Final motion then.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you very much. See you next week.